Welcome everyone to the selection table. We have Lekdog who is running late or he's gone AWOL. Every show I do with Lekdog recently, he goes full Jimmy Hoffa on me. So I don't know what I've done to him, but fuck him. Anyway, the man joining me is a guy that is always reliable. And as we always say, the best ability is availability. Mr. Ian from the Navy Blue Corner. How are you, my friend?
Oh, very good. I don't know if I can say reliable, considering I was suffering with the bloody man flu last week and wasn't able to get on. When basically, I can't blame him, but I was the first one to pull out of the show last week. And all of a sudden, everyone went, look, if Ian's not there, I don't think I can rock up last week. And it was just what you and Lekdog, but I'm back again. And now everyone's decided to desert me. So maybe it's a bit of karma.
Yeah, and you managed to give me the cold as here we are. Look at him. Lekdog, hey, are you fucking famous enough now just to swan in whenever you want?
Mate, for the 100th time, I've lost my car keys and it's very stressful. I actually have physically lost the spare as well. So I've just been panic looking through my whole house for my car keys and I got distracted.
It's very Lekdog. It's fucking car keys, not losing a kid. You know what I mean?
My car's unlocked as well, but normally it locks itself, so I don't know what the fuck's going on. But anyway, I'm here.
I'd just like to confirm
to everyone a bowl for your keys, and then you'll never forget them, mate. Same spot.
That can get you into trouble as a married man. Lekdog.
Yeah, mate. The bowl was banned from the house.
Lekdog lives in a gated community anyway, so I mean, like, as if his car's going to be hacked. Lekdog wearing a Yotes hat needs to get a pet.
Well,
just pretend I have no idea what any of that means.
They're the Arizona Coyotes, Coyotes. When I was in America, I saw them play ice hockey in a desert. It's very strange. The only other team I saw was the New York Islanders, and they're shit ass. So. The Oats it is.
Hey, well, there it is. I mean, we've got a big show, though, haven't we, gentlemen, this week? Because for the first time ever, I think in all three of our Carlton careers, we actually have big ins, not lay outs. So I actually didn't even know how to do a team bringing quality in. It actually confused me where I was replacing a player with someone better. It's never quite happened to me before. I'm really excited about this. Lads, are we excited? Ian, are you excited? The return of Harry McKay.
Shouldn't we trade him instead? I don't think we need him by all the chatter from the external. No, of course I'm pumped. We've been crying out for Harry McKay, and he was just starting to get back some form before he got injured as well. So pretty disappointing timing of the injury, and I think the last couple of weeks definitely cement how much we need this man, how vital he is to the squad, and how this forward line sort of actually works and functions. So I'm so excited. It's tough though. Every single person that's come in when we've had these injuries has sort of stepped up, and it feels really harsh to drop anyone and remove them for the big ins that we've got coming this week and the next few weeks. But someone has to make way, and that's why we're here to make those big decisions.
We are. And James, just a shout out before we come on to Lekdog. Shout out to my mate Faz, who he put a lot of comments on SEN about saying no Carlton fan is stupid enough to say Harry's not the best 22. And I said to him, never underestimate the unpredictability of stupidity, Faz. For 24 hours later, someone to call SEN and saying, I agree with you guys, he shouldn't play forward. They should try him at centre-half back. So it's not often I've been wrong. But sometimes even I am surprised at what people say. Lekdog, Harry McKay, full forward, centre-half back. Your call.
Centre-half back, and also trade Charlie while we're at it. Let's just really fuck with this functioning team, mate.
Lekdog.
Mate, if we could get 2 first for Harry, imagine how much we can get for Charlie. Ludicrous. It's insane. Harry McKay was our leading during those, while he was in the team during those wins, he was our leading contested possession winner in the forward 50. He presents up the ground, and you know what? When he was the one presenting up the ground taking marks, guess who he can kick it to? Charlie Curnow, who's in the forward line. It's a really good system. Yeah, and the fact that I think Ari put this out, our average winning margin with Harry in the team is like 55 points, while when he's not in the team, it's like 27 points. I'd rather win by 55 than 27.
I'm still at the stage that I'll win by a point or 101 point. I'm just enjoying winning. I'm addicted
Winning's
to
nice.
winning. Now I am addicted to winning. I'll never get bored of it. You know. Some people. My nan used to say, if I ever lost a golf tournament, it'd be very boring if you won every week, wouldn't it? I can tell the old boot she was fucking wrong. Like honestly, absolutely wrong.
DJ Khaled had it right. All I do is win, 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 no matter what.
That's an obscure reference, that dog.
I think that's DJ Khaled. I'm not really up to date on my mid 2010s DJs, but I believe that's DJ Khaled.
What a fucking obscure
Good
reference.
Lord. Good Lord. What has happened?
We start, and I know Jasmina is watching this because she believes one of us has dropped Marchbank, and I can safely say that I retained Bestie's status this week because I didn't drop Marchbank. But I went quite simple, right? So there's going to be a name there that I can tell that people will see and go, oh my God, Poms dropped him. But I don't care. Chincotta, Wheater in Boyd, Newman, Kemp, Sard, Akers, Cripps, Hollands, Cottrell, Mackay, Martin, Fogarty, Kerno, Cunningham, TDK, Doc, Hewitt, Owies, Dow, Marchbank, JSOS. So the things I'm expecting are why is Doc still there when he's got Corky? And I can't believe you put Fisher on the sub bench and dropped Motlop. I'm going to explain it, right? So here we are. Come on a journey with me. Come with me in a world of pure imagination. So as you'll see, right, what I've done is Boyd comes in straight away because that's going to be the natural backline rotation. So Fisher had that spot, in my opinion, the 7th defender, right? Doc is a midfielder. Doc stays this week purely because beating GWS Gold Coast, with the results going our way, we can potentially rest a couple of players in the GWS game because a home final is cemented no matter what. But this game is incredibly important because playing in a knockout game away versus home is the difference of going through to the next round, in my opinion. So it's a Corky. He'll get through it. JSOS for Pitt and Net. I love Pitt, but there's no doubt in my mind TDK and Pitt work better. TDK and JSOS work better in the way we play. And Mackay, he can't not be in. Motlop's stiff, but the reason I dropped him is Martin's pressure acts and Cunners have been through the roof the last 2 weeks. Motlop's haven't been. JSOS comes in as that forward rotation, and I've tried to have in mind that I predict Cottrell will come out for Chera in the real world because Cottrell has been that pinch hit winger and then they've moved Cunningham into the midfield and Fogarty. That gets rid of that. So I've tried to keep the balance as less changey for when Walsh and Chera come back as well. So they get used to playing with that one less rotation and everyone playing their role. Because for me, people are forgetting Martin isn't going to get to be rested at full forward anymore. So he's going to have to really plan his game, sticking at high half forward for the entire game. So I've had a little bit of method of next week in mind as well. But I feel like 3 defenders, it's always going to be 3 tolls because Marchbank played, McGovern has played. Didn't think that was the sensible option. So I've tried to be as logical as possible with JSOS coming in. So criticize me.
I was too scared to drop Motlop, but he was very heavily in consideration. And not because, obviously he's had a good run of games, didn't perform that well on the weekend, didn't hit the scoreboard, which I'd say primarily is what he's in the team to do. And I agree, we need to find another forward rotation for with JSOS and Mackay coming back in. You need to find that space. So I like the Motlop out decision. I'm too much of a coward to make it myself, just as a little preview for my side.
Well, I mean, to answer your question, I found it hard because I like the small forward line, right? But the way I think is Voss has always rested at half forward where Cottrell is at the moment, Walsh. So next week, I presume Carlton can still go in with the same team. Walsh in, Cherrett in. They have that extra rotation naturally. And I feel Cottrell is the guy that, unfortunately, moves down. And I thought Fisher there is my Doc insurance anyway. Do you know what I mean? Because he played on the wing and down halfback. So I figured that's Doc's natural role anyway. So if it does flare up at halftime, give him that. But I felt like it was too harsh to drop Dow because none of the players I'm bringing in are midfielders. So it's counterintuitive. Next week, Dow is out for Walsh. Cottrell is out for Cherrett. And I don't think any of us can argue that. Do you know what I mean? I think...
Yeah.
I don't even think Dow would argue that himself. Walsh and Cherrett are too good to not play. So it was tough this week because I thought there's some people I think deserve dropping more than Fish, who drop more than Motlop. But then I was thinking you're really breaking up the system that has won us 8 games. And that's what I'm reluctant to do.
Yeah, no, your rationale really does make sense because every change that you made and your reasoning for it were conversations like I was having with myself trying to pick my team, and I've gone in a different direction, but I was mulling over the same things, looking at, do we have too many forwards at the moment and too many smalls? If we are bringing in a Harry and we are bringing in a J Sauce, they're adding to that forward line. Do we have one too many? Who makes way? And it's tough because Motlop is that maybe more spark player. He's not that pressure player. He's the one that he's either going to kick 3 goals or he might not have too much influence. And is that something that we need? Does he bring something that maybe the other small forwards don't? Can you lose maybe a little bit of tackle pressure and have that bit of flair? And that's kind of the balance that you're looking at it. I guess my question would be around the Boyd Fisher move, because obviously Fisher's played really well. We probably rate Boyd higher in that defensive block. If we're looking at that back 6 and 7, we'd have Boyd ahead. Was it simply looking at it that way? What's our best team, considering how well Fisher's probably played in the last 2 weeks, and you have moved him to the sub role?
I think it's stiff, but I think Boyd brings a lot more than Fisher in terms of ball use down the back half. And I think Fisher has been brilliant with his run and the amount, but he's basically a stopgap for Walsh and Cherrett, who are the 2 of the better runners in the team. Cottrell is definitely a stopgap. And to answer your question about the pressure and the makeup, and Richard's got the same pressure, Martin's the highest rated pressure high half forward in the comp and has been playing full forward in the last 5 weeks. Cunners had the most pressure acts on the ground of Carlton last week. So Fogarty is there. The pressure's there. The goals are naturally there as well because you've got Harry, and then Cunners is going to play his more native position. I just feel that is the role. And I feel like Motlop, for me, it was simple. Do I drop Owies and keep Motlop because Owie's the goal sneak, who is better at hitting the scoreboard than Motlop, right? Or do I keep Motlop's more half and half? But I think people are forgetting Mackay is one of our best goal kickers in the comp. And when you play 2 forwards, forget what you've seen the last 8 weeks. There isn't going to be the ground ball gets that you're accustomed to, because there is going to be an extra target in, which Martin himself has feasted on a few times. So I feel like nothing has changed at all. It's just actually got more dangerous, and we're probably playing 1 too many smalls purely because we don't have a toll. So I'm really excited about seeing Martin and Cunners play their native positions, and these are their 2 best positions when they're not pretending to be a full forward.
I support it. I also support the Fisher to the sub, to be honest with you. I'm not even gonna I don't think he'll even be sub in a couple of weeks' time. So what I mean by that is that I think Jordan Boyd is the preferred defender. Zach Fisher has had a good sample size of just 2 games playing in defense. Was better the first game than he was the second game. Still has been good, not shit talking him, but it's very clear that he's probably their 7th or 8th ranked defender in this current team. So I think starting to pull him out of the team, starting to pull, as you mentioned, Dow next week when we get a few guys back. We've been talking about this for 3 weeks, Pom. At some stage, we've got 6 players that we need to fit into this team. So you've got to start making these calls, and why not make it now? And I know it's a must-win game. Every game's a must-win game. We're not going to lose another game this year. But Gold Coast are shit. They suck. So if we can't go up there and beat them, we don't then we deserve the loss. I know we've gone up there a couple of times and they've beaten us, but they are in every way worse than us right now. Right now, we're the best team in the competition. So go up there, make the tough calls now, win the game, and as you said, Pom, we'll then have the GWS game to rest 800. We can do a Ross line if we want. We can rest 22 players if we need to, assuming we win the Gold Coast game like I think we will.
Exactly my thinking. And for me, I think I'm looking long-term here. If I change too much, I had to start thinking of feeding the next 2 players in. I didn't want to change it too much because I fear that if we went with suddenly an extra forward, that ruins the disjointedness of the side. The midfield has won us games. The back line has won us games. But let's be honest, Fisher has pinch hit across 3 lines where Boyd is pure, that ball use. And Voss loves that 3 tall system down the back. So I didn't want to change it too much. I mean, I did debate taking Marchbank out. I'll be honest, full caveat, right? Not because I don't like him and not because he won us the game last week, but trying to keep that dynamic forward line. But I thought better of it because I was like, don't break something that's not broken, right? Don't try and fix something that's already working. Pom, just keep it simple. So Mackay, Boyd, Jesus are better than the 3 people I've removed out of the team in this system, in this style of play.
I will be breaking our backline system, just as a little heads up.
Well, if you've got no more questions and I've survived, let's bully Lekdog. Lekdog, what? Lekdog, what have you done?
So it's very simple. Pitto comes out, Silvani comes in. Right, Silvani's the backup ruck. Easy. Jordan Boyd comes in to the side. Caleb Marchbank comes out. I'll circle back to that. Harry Mackay comes in. Sam Doherty comes out. I'm resting Doc because we're going to smash Gold Coast. Ed Kerno comes out, and I've gone wild with Lewis Young as my sub. Now, let me talk through the logic. So, I think Chincotta can actually play taller than we've been using him. So, while I have taken a tall out, I do think Chincotta can play tall. And Gold Coast forward line isn't amazing. Last week, Ben King got injured. Now, they're saying he might play this weekend, but I'm hoping he remains injured. Nick Holman also injured. So then it's really Sam Day and Levi Casbolt we're looking at.
Not real players.
If King comes back into that lineup, that's why I've got Young as a bit of flexibility on and the sub, or you can put him as a late in, whatever you want. He's I wanted him in the 23 as sort of a break class in case of emergency. Also because JSOS, how's he going to pull up after missing a couple of weeks? Harry Mackay as well. I just want Young there for a tall flexibility, but I don't think we need to necessarily go tall in defense against this side. And if we need to, Chincotta can play taller. So Chincotta, Wiedering, Newman, Boyd, Kemp, Sard. That's my starting back 6. And then I've kept Fisher in the team to play that role, but he's going to fill a few roles for us. He's going to play all around the ground like he has done at periods over the last 2 weeks, but he's my 7th defender. Cottrell is my depth on the wing, and I like Akers. The last couple of weeks, we've seen him play a bit more inside at times. They've sent him into the contest a lot more to make up for the numbers, so I'm going to use his rotations through the midfield to cover Doherty, who I'm resting. And then one of Fogue and Fish can also rotate through the mids at times. We saw Fogarty a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember which game it was, but it might have been the game where Chera went down or Walsh went down, but basically they pushed Fogarty into the midfield and he did his job. So I'm happy against the Gold Coast for him to be that rotation. And then JSOS comes in to, as I said, be that backup ruckman / forward / I'm sure there's people in the comments wanting him to play in defense as the depth defender as well. Kept Motlop in by the hair on his chinny chin. I don't think will be there when our full team is back and firing. I don't think it's a crazy team. I basically have just gone slightly shorter in defense because Gold Coast is pretty undermanned in their forward line. That's basically what's happened here.
Well,
and sorry, can I just add on to this? So Ed Curnow, I've admitted he's going to play. Like, he's just going to play. So don't worry about that. Marchbank, I've admitted, and it's because at some stage he is going to get admitted. I don't think he is playing good enough footy that he's going to keep Mitch McGovern out of this side. I'm not sure. You guys might have the injury news, but I think Mitch McGovern's aiming to return next week. So in the same game that Walsh and Chera and all these guys are coming back. Love Marchbank. Happy that he's out on the field. Glad that he touched that ball and helped us win the game. He's not going to be in the team over Mitch McGovern. It's just not going to happen. So let's see what it looks like against Gold Coast, who are terrible, and then have a fully fit best 22 next week against GWS. And we might actually be able to rest everyone next week. We might be playing Domaku next week because we'll have sewn up finals and be putting the boys on ice.
Wow, some big selection calls. Mr. Ian, what do you think? I mean, I can't believe he's dropped Ed Curnow.
I mean, that's the big shock horror of this selection. I can't believe it. No, I mean, it all makes sense. I still think that I would like us to, even if they are a bit smaller in their forward line Gold Coast, for us to keep the three talls. I think if you're wanting that consistency and wanting to kind of play the way that we want to going into finals, I like the idea of keeping that structure. But I definitely understand your reasoning. But I don't know, I like the idea of us being a bit taller and using just Kemp to intercept everything and not really allow them any real looks. I definitely find it interesting that maybe Young has gotten the sub spot over a Marchbank. Obviously, you haven't maybe loved Marchbank's form. I don't think he's been exceptional since coming back by any stretch. Is it just kind of have another look at Young in defense?
It's just flexibility. Marchbank, it's just flexibility. Marchbank can do one thing. Young can do kind of two things. Yeah. And he's that extra tall. As I said, if in a real world, there might be some late changes with this side. He might come off the sub, go onto the bench, but I just don't think Marchbank's going to be in the team. And I think with JSOS coming back off injury, you might need, who knows how he or Mackay pulls up. You might need another tall in there. So Young's the one I picked. It's pretty basic. Luckily my energy doesn't affect the actual team, but I just have no fear of Gold Coast. Like if Brody Kemp's running off Levi Casbolt, I'll take that every day of the week. If Wiedering's playing on Sam Day, then they might not get a ball inside their forward 50. So I'm just really confident. And I think we can take risks against this team. I just think we can.
Giuseppe has worded this less articulately than I would have done, but I would have rephrased this with, is Young as sub just for memes?
I would never, Pommy, I would never do that on this show. You know me. I'm very serious.
No, my question is, right, so...
we know the sub in real life is going to be Ed Curnow.
I just can't believe every week we do the real teams together, and every week we complain that the sub is the least fucking thought of position, and you've put the most slow, cumbersome player that was left in the 35th players. So I just can't believe you've done it to me, to be honest. But I will ask my question. So I like JSOS in. I think JSOS, I agree with you. I think you should be picking a team that will ultimately play finals now. We're basically one win away from sealing a home final. My question is, though, right, let's just say with that sub, Ed Curnow obviously gives you that ability to play across three lines if he has to, right? Yeah. And obviously, JSOS and TDK, when they've played together, one of them's rested back. So you've got the extra tall, right? And so that makes the Marchbank out make sense. What do you think would happen, though, if, say, one of our mids had a little bit of a knock here? How are you planning on that? So let's just say, heaven forbid, one of the mids gets a corky. They've got to sub them out 45, 50 minutes. How are you going to fix that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think you could potentially push Boyd into the forward line as a sort of defensive forward if you wanted, and then move like a Cunningham or a Fogarty or someone into that midfield rotation. It's not ideal, I think, but I think with that bench cover, yes, the sub, there's always an injury to player. There's only been like one game where the sub wasn't activated this year for a team. So he's going to come on. He's not the most ideal one, but I'm just I think there's enough depth on the field with flexibility through Fisher, Fogarty, Cotters, Akers. Like, I think the 22 has enough flexibility. What I'm worried about is a J-Sauce, Mackay. I'm more worried about the talls getting a knock than the mids getting a knock, if that makes sense.
Right, makes sense. And to
Solid.
back Lekdog up, let's not forget Mick Agresta did actually announce Jordan Boyd on the day he was drafted as a small pocket forward with him not playing there.
Had never played there.
Yeah, so I mean that was old Agresta, eh? But not controversial selection, Lekdog. You do it every week.
It's the sub. Who gives a shit?
Lekdog, I do.
It's going to be Ed Kerno.
because it's annoying me now. It's the one thing that the football club annoys me is that they're just not a fucking imaginative position.
They've never put someone with pace in as the sub.
Yeah, I watch all 17 teams have some kind of rambustious, marauding little halfback whisper thing, and Carlton have got like an 8'5", 400 keg juggernaut coming on. Like, I'm surprised Pitternet's not been.
I was about to say, get Pitto as the sub. What are we doing? Come on, lightning.
Genuinely,
mate, Pitto needs the rest. Pitto needs the rest. Pitto needs a leg amputation, I think. Can you? No, amputation's when you cut it off. He needs to replace it.
Okay.
Did you see how much tape he had on? Literally foot to hip was taped against the Demons.
Fucking Lekdog wishing grievous bodily harm.
I'm not wishing. No, I'm not wishing. I'm just saying he needs it.
Well, he was getting like back injections still like halfway through this season as well. So he's battling that as well throughout the season. The man just needs a preseason of just pure ice baths for like the whole time. Just get your body right, mate.
Winnings killed Lekdog. I think like Lekdog with that statement, he needs an amputation. He's like 2 weeks ago going, what's going on with Pitternet having 5 touches? Bring back hangings. We haven't had one for 100 years. Hang them. Mate.
Winning does things to a man.
It does indeed. It does indeed. And now we come on to Ian, our favourite suit wearing friend. Ian, talk us through. Very, very simplistic after Lekdog's Kane Corns-esque moment, as Alex is calling him.
Ian, before you jump in, I just want to say you followed me on Instagram recently. The one mutual friend I have with you, other than Pom, happens to be a real estate agent. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Really? Mate. Really? There's only 2 mutuals between. Really?
Yeah, like you and maybe Terry as well, but and a real estate agent, the guy who sold me my house.
You know what? I thought that was a pot shot at Terry, to be honest. I was like, he's got a full of Terry, surely. But Ian, talk to me about your team, my friend. Nice and simple. I like it.
Yeah, look, you say simple, but I feel like there might be a bit of backlash because the last time I did drop Matty Cottrell, there was a couple of accusations about some potential Hong Kongs that I was consuming. So I'm a bit worried to see what reaction I'm going to get this week, but very keen to get your thoughts on it because tried to keep things pretty simple. I've gone clearly Pitt hasn't been playing well. He comes out. JSOS comes in as that second ruck. I don't feel like I really need to touch on that. We know how good JSOS looked before he got injured in that role, and I like more versatility in that second ruck. TDK's looked better as the number one, so keep that pretty simple. And Harry, he has to come in, and of course I've gone my mandatory. Ed Kerno gets omitted. It's my forte every single week on this show, and yeah, it's just a matter of what I do with the other omission, who comes out in that forward line, and really wrestled over what is it? Because the back 7 feels a bit settled I guess there's 7 guys there. I like that. There's probably one too many forwards, but the big thing I was maybe looking at, and it's maybe stiff on a Cottrell, I think it's stiff on anyone that comes out of this team, was, is there someone in this team that maybe doesn't offer something that someone else does? And unfortunately, and this is probably really harsh on a Cottrell, I just feel like everyone else currently offers something that maybe someone else doesn't. Like, you look at the forward line, and I said it, there's probably too many smalls, but always been big for us, can mark, can bring the pressure. Motlop has the spark and that ability to make something out of nothing. Fogarty's got the pressure and can add something in your midfield as well. Cunningham's got the silk, can add into the midfield. Martin's been massive with the pressure, ability to mark and kick goals. He does everything in that forward line. Cottrell, I prefer Akers and Hollands on the wings. So I'm just not too sure where he maybe fits, and having a guy like a Fisher that can maybe rotate on the wing. You've got Doherty still there to rotate. Guys like Cunningham, guys like Fogarty that can still probably do that role. I just sort of thought I want to maybe see Fish for one more week before Boyd comes straight in for him. And the Cottrell out maybe gives you some versatility where you need an extra maybe winger and speed through the midfield. And as we were touching on, looking at that sub role, can we finally use an impact sub? Because it feels like a demotion. And I've said this so many times on this show for those that listen every single week, but it feels like a demotion for Cottrell. But I feel like the best way we can possibly use him is this sub role. Someone who has energy, someone that has pace, can play around that midfield, around the stoppages, whether he's pushing up high half forward and maybe even going down there, taking a mark like years ago in that Sydney game, the match winner, or whether he's on the wing. I just feel like we need to offer more from that sub. And even though I'm dropping him, I almost think that that's his role for the rest of the season. Be the tactical sub, actually use it as a position, treat it as something rather than just in case someone gets injured, we have someone. Actually use it tactically for what it's for. So that's kind of what I've gone for. But as I think Pommy's kind of gone through, maybe it should have been another small forward that makes way. But I just feel like everyone else has something that maybe Cottrell doesn't, which is maybe stiff, but we're making big changes. Players are going to be stiff in this. And yeah, just to probably touch on a couple of things with Doherty, I know he's got that injury cloud on him. I just thought, knowing you've got Chera and Walsh probably coming in next week, just give him one more week and then you can get rid of him and let him have a bit of a rest before finals. And then, yeah, with the Boyd and Fish, it was really just Boyd will come in eventually, but man, just give Fish that one more go and bit of wing rotation. But yeah, what are your thoughts, boys?
I think your sub shouldn't be shorter than 201 centimeters. No, look, the only thing, because I think Cottrell is the perfect sub. I think he is built to be a sub, but unfortunately, I do think you need someone else to rotate through the wing. And I don't think Fisher, and as much as everyone wanted it to be Dow for the last 5 years, I don't think it's Dow. So I would have Cottrell in just purely for that rotation. A Chera and a Walsh can do it. It's not my preferred use for them, but they can do it. Even Doc can do it. I guess maybe he's the one. Yeah. Dow into the midfield, Doc as the rotation. I just feel like we're maybe one short there. But having said that, I think you're right where we talk about the sub as being a bad thing, or we think of it as being a bad thing, but I think it can be a really good thing. And I think if you're tactically injecting someone into the game, Matty Cottrell's probably the maniac you want to do it.
Nah, Mark pitting it. Yeah. No, I mean, Ian, with the two logical ones here this week, with Mr. Young as sub here, I mean, the only difference is, I went a different way with you. I agree with you about your Cottrell reasonings as well. I think it's harsh. My only thing with, just to go different with you, the reason I chose Motlop over dropping anyone else was purely because Fogarty plays in the midfield as well for Voss. Yeah. So I figured you've added that. So I see what you mean. That's the thing. You're going to suddenly have way too many forwards. We've gone full circle. I wish we had a small forward to suddenly...
Didn't have a small forward for 10 years.
So I never thought I would be on a Carlton show saying, fuck, we've got way too many small forwards. Would it kill us to drop one?
Jeez,
But
we've
no,
just got too many forwards and defenders. Fuck.
Yeah.
I like it. Now, I just had one question because I chose to bite the bullet now with Fisher. I took him. I took him out and made him sub straight away. You are going to give him another week. The way I looked at it, and this is my theory, Boyd hasn't been injured. He's been training all the time. He's suspended. So the only thing he can't do is play. But full training, fully fit, was a class above. What would your reasoning be to give Fisher another game, knowing that as soon as Chera and Walsh are in, he isn't here? So, like, what was your thought process on that?
Yeah, it kind of answers what Lekdog brought up with his kind of rotations and then that question there, because I agree. I think next week I would be bringing Boyd straight in because he was exceptional in the VFL, and I think he's there for – just offers so much more than I think Fisher can, and unfortunately that means Fisher will make way. But it was really just rotations elsewhere because I'm taking Cottrell away. It removes that wing rotation, and then I'm kind of moving everyone else. So as far as my wings, obviously you got Akers, you've got Hollands. I think with the versatility, Doc can have run through there. Fish can push up and play a little bit there if you need. I think Cunningham has capabilities as well to sort of by committee take over the Cottrell minutes. And then also looking at that midfield, because there's probably too many small forwards, they need to play elsewhere. And that's maybe where that extra rotation comes in and allows maybe Doc to have a bit more rest, because you got Cripps, Hewitt, Doc, Dow, Fish, Fogarty, Cunners, all can run through that midfield and have those CBAs if you need them to. So it was kind of just this week, if I'm removing Cottrell and losing rotations, I think Fisher can possibly fill a couple of holes for one more week until you get Walsh in, until you get Chera, and we start to get that better cattle through there. And plus, I kind of just wanted to reward one more week of Fish and just go, okay, mate, one more week. We know you're probably not going to be in that best 22, but you've played well. I'll reward it one more time. That was kind of the theory there, but I think he'll probably make way the week after. And then as well for those small forwards, give me one more week. And probably the one that doesn't perform makes way the next week as well for the GWS game. But it's going to be interesting for sure. I'm keen to hear the chat's thoughts on who they think are the guys that will make way in that forward line. And do you give Fish one more week?
Well, I mean, everyone has been very complimentary of your team, to be honest. Like, if we're doing a vote here, if we were doing a vote here, I think I'm second and you're first here. They like it. Do you know what I mean? Maybe I killed Fish a week too early. You know what I mean? Says has become a member. Thank you very much, my lovely. You are a superstar. Chat, last week you accused my good, esteemed colleague Ian of being on the Hong Kongs. MP, Member of Parliament, that stands for, which does explain a lot. Cripps needs a spell, hasn't been up to par. Fuck me. Wow. And this is a good one from Alex. If we're shore up finals, which I agree with you keeping Doc in, still it is a mathematical improbability, but while it's a probability, I think we take this game as serious as possible. 4 points, results go our way, home final. Just talking about the VFL, I actually did my stats today, looking at next week when everyone's fit. The VFL team could literally be the AFL team that has won us 8 games. Do you know what I mean? Pretty much going into finals, which is incredible. Do you know what I mean? Incredible when you think about it, that our literal VFL team could be the side that pretty much won 8 games in senior football.
Do you know what? That is amazing.
Yeah,
I've been distracted because I've got a quiz question for each of you. You know how Terry bought the fun questions? I've got a quick quiz question for each of you. Okay, Ian.
Oh God.
Assuming Jack Martin is selected this week and the player I'm about to ask you about isn't selected this week, Jack Martin will tie one of our Carlton Blues for 145 career games played. This player is very popular in our chat. He's been a staple part of the rebuild. Do you know which player has played one more game currently than Jack Martin?
Oh, I feel like you may have just given it away with a massive clue. Is it the great Lockie Plowman?
It is the great Lockie Plowman. Would you believe that he has played more games than Jack Martin still in his career at this point? Madness.
Honestly, weirdly, I do. I don't know if that's because we've been holding on to Plowman. It felt like for years he's the easy one to make way from this team, but he just kept getting selected. Unfortunately, big Jack Martin just can't stay healthy. But I mean, it's bizarre to think that that's still there, to be honest. But fingers crossed, J Mark can stay fit.
Lockie Plowman career games by year. Giants 6, 12, 2. So he played, 20 games at the Giants. Came to the Blues 19, 21, 13, 21, 16, 19, 15. Like the bloke just has never missed. Pom, your question is one of our players who will not be playing this week is on 95 games, meaning when we win against GWS and the 4 following games, his game 100 will be in the grand final. Which player am I talking about?
Played 95 games.
He has played 95 games.
Won't play this week.
Will not play this week.
Sam Walsh.
Sam Walsh is correct. Sam Walsh will return to the side against GWS and play his 100th game in the 2023 grand final.
I was literally there thinking it's either him or Mitch McGovern, and I was like, if Mitch McGovern has played 90 games, we all owe him a fucking apology because that seems an awful lot. But I did actually think Sam Walsh had played more than that. Like, it feels like Sam Walsh has been around forever, doesn't it?
It's because he was just immediately our best player. He's only 11 games behind Mitch McGovern for career games, and he's got a lazy 6 years behind less time in the system.
Bizarre.
Insane. Well, what I'm going to do is we're going to try something a little bit different this week. So I'm going to really need Lekdog's help. But thank you very much, Alistair, who has become. So what I'll do is before we do it, we'll just recap the teams. This was Lek's team. He went Boyd, Mackay, JSauce, Young sub in, Ed Kerno, Marchbank, Pitternet, Doherty died. I'm recapping it because I know the lovely, I think it was Whitney, said that she'd come in late. Whitney Hesmer, our lovely member here. So has Mitch McGovern played more than 9 games? I don't know, probably 3. Pom, I did the same as Ian. I just brought in Boyd and ditched Cottrell, mainly because I used to pick on ginger kids at school and it never died. And Ian, he just took Mackay and JSauce in and he killed Ed and killed Pitternet. I'm the only one who's got definitely 100% right, because if you look at my sub,
it's true.
Nailed it. Do you know what I mean? So I am in the bet. So what we'll do now is I'm going to try and set this up. So give me 5 shakes of a lamb's tail, and Lekdog and Ian are going to be totally in charge of
chat,
doing
it, going through the teams, working out who's winning.
Right, so what I'll do is if I do this, that should scroll at the bottom. Oh, it worked. So you can see that, can't you, chat? Okay, so lads, what we'll do is we'll start top to bottom. Ian, Backman, and they're on the screen below you.
I will lock in Chin Cotter.
Chin Cotter. There we are. Right. Mr. Lekdog, who are you saving?
It'd be funny, wouldn't it? I will be bringing in Jordan Boyd.
You know what? I'm going to be a complete coward. And I'm going to make it on the chat to kill Bambi because, do you know what I mean? They critique us when we kill Bambis. Well, I'm going to let them see how hard it is when you are responsible for destroying a human being's career. Right? So, chat, you've got Akers, Charlie Kerno, Cottrell, Cripps, Cunningham, Doc, Dow, Fish, Fogg, Hewitt, Hollands, JSauce, Kemp, Marchbank, Martin, Mackay, Motlop, Newman, Ois, Sard, TDK, and Lewis Young. You have basically 3 picks, chat. So give me 3 names. I can see Kemp coming in. There's going to be no Plowman, Lockie Jack.
You need to. Lockie Jack needs to be banned.
So we got
Sard Kemp Newman. He's got his Twitter posse in. He's got his Plowman posse in. Kemp Newman, Sard Newman, Kemp.
Looks like it's Sard Newman and Kemp, doesn't it?
The Plow Maniacs have come to the chat. I tell you what.
The Plow Maniacs. That's very good.
We are the Plow Maniacs.
Do you remember, Pom? There was a time a couple of years ago where I'd have to regularly defend why Plowman was in the team. And it was basically like, because there's no one else, what do you want us to do?
You know what, right? I love Lockie Jack. He's giving me good entertainment. But the amount of times he comments about about Plowman, honestly, I newsflash, all my off-season content has that guy traded on a free. You've actually broken Plowman for me. I'm going to be honest, chat. But based on what you did, let me just click off the screen and you can see that I don't pay my debts as well because I haven't updated. I
wasn't going to comment. Hey, that's my backline, by the way. Just a little heads up. That's the backline I picked. So,
do you know what I mean? I'm gonna give you. I use Mrs. Pom's card for that, and she's cancelled it. So there you are. A little bit into our relationship there, but we are on the midfield, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Ian, right? We've got Akers, got Charlie Kerner, you've got Cottrell, you've got Cripps, Cunningham, Doc, Dow, Fisher, Fogarty, Hewitt, Hollins, JSOS, Marchbank, Martin, Mackay, Motlop, Owies, TDK, and Young. I can't believe Young's still in our 30.
I'm gonna steal your man. It's Ollie Hollins on a wing. The man is just exceptional. You can't help but fall in love with this kid.
You should have seen Pom lose his mind, chat, when I said I was going to drop Hollins from my team today.
That was good.
He threatened to quit.
No, that was also when you told me that you dropped Charlie Kerner for Mackay to give him a rest. Honestly, absolutely.
We function better, mate.
It's inside my head.
I'll be picking George Hewitt, please.
George Hewitt. Hey, chat, look, we've managed to get this better every week for you. You know what I mean? George Hewitt.
It's improved, hasn't it?
Mm.
George Hewitt. Who am I saving?
Save your boy.
Who's my boy?
Paddy Dow. The Vospiracy himself.
I'm saving Cripps. I thought it'd be more fun this week if I was nice and I'd give chat the hard jobs. So, chat, we have saved Cripps, Hollins, and Hewitt. We have made it. You found out how hard it is. It's not easy. So, you've got Akers, Charlie Kerner, Cottrell, Cunningham, Doherty, Dow, Fisher, Fogarty, JSOS, Marchbank, Martin, Mackay, Motlop, Owies, TDK, Young. To alert you, we don't have a ruck.
Yeah. Andy Hill has said Akers, Cripper, Hollins, TDK, Hewitt, Doc. So he's basically said Akers and TDK. Akers, yep, Akers, Dow, Cunners. I think Akers is definitely in.
We're needing a ruckman. I'll tell you what. There we go. TDK getting plenty of it.
TDK, right. Doc, TDK, Doc, TDK, Doc. Okay, it's Doc and TDK.
I always feel better, chat, when we actually have a ruckman locked away. And usually it's been me every week who has tried to help my anxiety levels because it scares me, chat. But unlike Terry, I 1000% trust you, even when some of you are typing it in. So we're on the forward line. This is the tough one, isn't it? So, Ian, which forward are you bringing in?
Well, I shot Bambi when I dropped this man about a month ago, so it feels like I should be the one to bring him back in. Give me Jack Silvani on the half-forward line.
Oh, I thought he was bringing Cottrell in. Oh, like redemption. Mr. Lekdog, who are you saving?
Harry Mackay. Centre half forward, please.
You're not doing defenders. What are you doing?
Hey, banter. You know what? We should have just named him at centre halfback after ragging on the guy that called.
How many goals has Harry kicked this year? I'm gonna pull that up. Oh, I tweeted that out the other day. The first time since what did I say? Was it 2013 or 2012 that we've had 4 forwards kick 20 or more goals?
That's
That
insane.
doesn't see this, but you know, Lekdog, like, you know, normal people in our group chat, when we're like winning, we're like sending each other willy pics and stuff. Lekdog is hitting me with like really fucking in-depth stats. Like, I have to PM him at 3 a.m. and be like, Lekdog, just fucking enjoy it. What are you doing, Lekdog? What are you doing?
This is the first time we've won 8 games since the moon was invented.
I did like your Twitter the other day when you just started tweeting numbers, and I was like, and because I love Lekdog, right? I just sent him a message going, "Is everything all right with you?" Because you're talking in code. But chat, 3 people: Cottrell, Cunningham, Dow, Fisher, Fogarty, Marchbank, Martin, Motlop, Owens, and Young. Let's see where we're at. David, Redbear, Martin, Owens, Connors, Whitney, Martin, Connors. That's 2 each. Motlop, Kerner, Connors. So Connors looks like he's in. Fogs, Owens, Jack Martin. Why do I lie? Tell you what, this is he hasn't shouted at me here. He's taken the time to write a full sentence, and I appreciate that. I think the other 3 should be Martin, Owens, and Connors. I like that. Martin,
I think they should be as well.
Owens, Fisher, Connors. Looks like Connors is a lock.
I reckon Martin's a lock as well.
J Martin. Yeah, there's plenty of Martins.
It looks like, by the looks, it looks like Owens is the final one.
Yeah.
Yeah, chat. Martin, Connors, and Owens. John Holden comes in at the last minute, and he's predicted it. Tell you what, this is always a test, because you guys now can see my spelling. That one always throws me.
It's because he dropped an N, mate.
Because he spelt his name wrong. Okay, chat. So we have got the interchange bench. We will do 1 each. We have got, let me edit this for you. Connors has gone, Owens has gone, and Martin has gone. And hopefully that also arranges it into an order. Boom. Okay, Cottrell, Dow, Fisher, Fogarty, Marchbank, Motlop, and Young, Mr. Ian.
I like a team that is balanced, and I like to start my bench with a defender, so it is Marchbank. I'm so sorry, Lekdog.
You're a coward, Ian.
To be fair, right, you know, Jasmina has made the biggest mistake because she texts us saying we better not drop him, and she doesn't realise that me and Lekdog froth and mean.
Just petulant children.
Like we are children at heart. So me and Lekdog will go out of our way.
I couldn't squeeze him in, but ahead of Lewis Young. Paddy Dow, mate. Paddy Dow.
Fogarty.
Love it.
Beautiful.
Because you know what? Fogarty doesn't get the love he bloody deserves because he's a tough fucker.
Fuck. How many? He had was it 7 tackles or 9 tackles or something on the weekend?
Connors as well had 31 pressure acts, which people are forgetting it, which is like obscene.
Oh, I think he's one of those players, right, that has the flashy moments, but he also backs it up with just the things that don't really show up on the stats. I would say, Pom, that he's class.
And people forget as well, ground ball gets, these are through the roof, effort indicators. Like the effort indicators, to use Mr. Teague's favourite word, he would be touching himself with effort indicators at the moment because they're there. Chat, 2 names. You're going to get the sub and you're going to get the last one. Cottrell, so I need the first name is going to be your bench. Sub is your last one. Cottrell, Fisher, Motlop, Young. Whitney, you are a wordsmith, my darling. He is the cohesion/clash we needed. Tell you what, use a word with more than 2 syllables and this northerner flutters.
Cottrell, I'm seeing a fair bit of Cottrell.
Seeing the ploughman thing is actually fucking my eyes.
It's really...
Clown Mania
it's
is
like-
running wild.
It's getting to Lekdog. I can actually tell Lekdog is irritated by it.
I can't tell who people are like. Everyone is saying Cots and Fisher, but they're all switching up the order, so I can't. Oh, Lucky Jack, where do you live? Tell me where you live.
Fisher, Cotters, Fish, Fisher, Motlop. I think that tips Fisher as the final player. Yeah, Fisher.
Yep.
Big.
Yep.
Super sub.
Fisher.
Which is
Fisher
really silly because we know that this team's wrong straight away.
There's no Ed. There's no Ed, Kerno.
Yeah, you know what you've done, right? You've actually broken Lekdog. I can't do that. You've actually broken him to the point where he just can't function anymore. He can't function. Mackay, Boyd,
J Sauce.
That's it. And out of that team is Cottrell to the sub.
Yep. Cottrell.
I'm not going to do that till just confuse people.
Someone else.
Ed
Kerner
Pitt.
is out.
And
Backline.
McElhinney.
Who have we removed in the back line?
No one.
No one.
It's been Pito that comes out as well.
Who have we removed in the... Oh no, Dow's there.
It's Pito,
Motlop,
Motlop, yeah. Yep.
And Pitternet.
Yeah, and technically Cottrell's out as well, but
he's out and in at the same time. The man's a magician.
There is your team. So, you know what?
then next week it gets tough again, doesn't it?
Oh, it's exciting.
You know what? We're just going to play a little game here, chat. Right. Just funny how life goes. But look.
Are you telling me Young didn't... you got the sub wrong, though.
I got the sub wrong, but I just wanted to... I just wanted... Honestly, the reason that I'm going to put a full caveat of why Ed Kerno was my sub is actually I'm doing a sit-in protest.
Yep.
Right. And I've dropped him every week and not had him as the sub. And you know what? Fuck it. I am now going to make, even next year when he's not on the list, Ed Kerno's going to be my fucking sub. Right. Sit-in protest. Sit-in protest from Pam. But chat, as always, thank you very much for your contribution. This was a fantastic show, probably the hardest one we've had. So I really thank you for your wonderful support and comments. As always, thank you to the members that have signed up. Ian, this week, what are you doing this week? Because your co-host, he's just scarpered, hasn't he? He's up and left.
He has. He's in Europe, so it's been a bit tough by myself. Been getting some guests on.
How long has he been in Europe for?
Mate, I don't know where he's getting bankrolled from because the Navy Blue Corner clearly isn't making enough money for me to get over to Europe. So I don't know where he's getting this moolah from. Maybe he's the real estate agent. I don't know what's happening. But the man will be back for finals, so very excited for that. But Navy Blue Corner is the podcast. Just dropped the Melbourne match review. Did a bit of a solo pod. So if you like listening to me, I talk for about an hour. But this week, I'm eyeing off one of the men on here, Pommy, to jump on and be my guest to review the Gold Coast game. So it should be a bit of fun on YouTube, Navy Blue Corner, or wherever you listen to your pods. And if you don't want to miss out, head over to any social media. I'm there as well, getting all the plugs in. It's beautiful. It's fun to talk about wins. I'll tell you what.
I hope you don't invite me on after our first loss. Lekdog, what the fuck are you doing this week?
Podcast came out last night, second last podcast for the Jock Reynolds Supercoach podcast. Well, second last official one. I'll drop a cheat sheet. Fuck, I don't know when I'm going to do that. Some stage on Friday during the workday. I will miss teams with you this week, Pom, but mostly I'll probably just be tweeting irrelevant or very specific stats on x.com. So follow me at Lekdog. Lekdog, but I'll be around. What I'm really looking forward to, Pom, is next week's team selection going into GWS, because we're going to have some fun with that one.
Mate, we will do. I can't wait. Make sure you get around Jock Reynolds, because that's sad. That's a moment. That's like the Beatles breaking up, to be fair.
Yeah, if you are involved in Supercoach or interested in Supercoach, there's a live event at Crown on Friday at the pub. I think it kicks off at 6 o'clock. I will be on a panel there. There's going to be trivia, but it's mostly just people watching the footy and drinking beers. So if you're around, you want to come to that, the details are on Facebook.
What is this? Is this like a Comic-Con for?
That's one. I'm not sure, but I'm on a panel, and I will be there. And I think Heath Shaw's also going to be there. So a couple less people famous, less famous than me. There might be a few other footy players and stuff. I'm not really sure, but the pub, Crown, Friday night, I'll be there.
Well, it's nice being Ian, get invited to these things.
I've just heard about it now. Thanks for that.
Consider this an official invitation.
You will see me tomorrow where Terry has stupidly decided to see what happens when you go against Pom in a watch-along furnace, as we will be watching the Tildas versus the Lionesses on the Blue Abroad show. So come and see that. We'll have a bit of laugh, and I'll try and be nice to you. And remember, you are the same side as me every week. Then what else have I got? I can't remember what I'm doing this week. I've got a preview coming out. We'll probably recap the Irish kids. Go and check them videos out.
Too busy breaking news, Pom.
Too busy. Hey, breaking news and breaking hearts, mate.
So many trips from Ireland are back, mate.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Mrs. Pomfart was in a meeting last week and I was drinking Guinness in Ireland. Yeah, and that's it from me. I will be doing my usual video. Lockie Jack sends you $3 for a beer, and sorry for breaking your eyes. Much love, everyone. Look after yourself and go the mighty Blue Baggers.